Yeah, that's what I told her. I said, oh, maybe Bryce is trying to make one.
Charlie, repeat everybody's questions and answers. Historical grant.
Oh yeah, I'm great. Roll.
Oh, pardon me?
Hopefully I can submit it.
All right, I will call this meeting of Sunny County Commissioners to order Tuesday, May 2nd, 2017. Please join me in the pledge. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Commissioner Thomas, please lead us in prayer.
Clerk, thank you for surrounding us with like-minded and community-minded folks to guide us in our processes today. Also, we thank you for your hand in guiding the natural environment for our farmers in this critical planting season. In your name we pray.
Amen.
Amen.
Thank you for the tiger.
Oh, I'm glad the big guy's got a sense of humor. Okay, any adjustments? Well, I guess we better do this other stuff first. Roll call.
Commissioner Kirschner?
Here.
Commissioner Thomas?
Here.
Commissioner Stacy?
Here.
I will accept the motion to approve the digital audio video recording of the previous board session and the written index of that meeting.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, they are approved. Okay, adjustments to the agenda, a number of items. Anything to add, subtract, or modify?
I have an additional appropriation adjustments from the auditor's office.
Okay.
Read that with the rest of the resolutions.
Very good. Okay, away we go. Critical infrastructure, Commissioner Stacy.
All right, I had provided from the committee just a minor adjustment update to the recommendation that I presented on last week to the board, and the IT committee is asking for approval of the recommendation coming from the committee. And the only change was, for better clarity, instead of saying phase 1, phase 2, was specifically calling those things as they are. And under this critical infrastructure project, the first one being public safety / 911, the critical infrastructure backbone and interconnectivity to the county public safety locations, including the functionality for next generation 911. And then it went on to list, the locations. And then the second part being full county connectivity. And again, that would do exactly that, bring the connectivity to all of the other county buildings and departments. So the implementation is contingent on the financing, and that cost is not a burden, and that it's not a burden to the county. And the daily operating costs are not what this project is looking at. This, this is not about the cost savings. We have daily, monthly, yearly expenses now. We will still have some of those. They will change up a little bit with connectivity happening, but we would like to recommend this step be move forward, and then we can follow the next steps as outlined in this, which has not changed from what I shared last week, so I don't know that I need to read through that and what it would do. So I'm game to make the motion at this point in time to get on the floor for further discussion, if that's okay with the chairman?
Sure.
All right, then I would like to move that the Board of Commissioners adopt the recommendation from the County IT Committee for the critical infrastructure fiber project for public safety in the county IT security, as presented.
That's not full connectivity, for point of clarification.
The recommendation for both.
For both.
For both steps.
Okay.
Thank you for that point, but yeah, to adopt the full recommendation.
On what the plan is, not necessarily.
Yeah, on what the plan is, which is just, it gives us the
These two
direction to
items.
go, and then obviously the committee would need to be reporting back
Okay.
about, because the design engineering work would have to be done, cost estimates, budgeting, and that this is just not say, regardless of whatever we'll pay for it,
Yeah.
this is just the direction, so we spend time going the direction that the board, or the majority of the board wants to go, and we don't spend time doing something this board would not support.
I'll
if
second that.
able.
Okay. Motion on the floor. Any additional discussion?
Yeah, I've got a couple things.
Go ahead.
I do think we need to get a handle on what the operating costs are and potential cost savings. It's not gonna be the only driver. I think we have to compare those to what the installed costs are and understand that. But, you know, that's our next step, is to have all that information back to us, as far as, you know, what we can save on phone, what we can save on data. You know, once we have the engineering, then we can know what the total installed cost is going to be. So I do think that's an important component. So, you know, even though the goal isn't cost savings necessarily, I think we need to know what our operating costs are going to be going forward. Also, I don't dislike the idea of a fiber swap. I just think we need to consider all options. There may be other options out there, and, you know, when it comes back to us for approval, I'm going to ask that question: what options, other options were available, and what could we have possibly done other than a fiber swap? So, and then, you know, third is, you know, I want to make sure if we're going that way, that we have, you know, we inform Derek Devine that this is the direction we want to move, and we start evaluating the legal structure of what that might look like. Because, you know, there's some pretty clear guidance on what is and isn't allowable for a county to do when it's related to a private enterprise. So, you know, those are my moving forward kind of comments, so that, you know, we're very clear. But, and I support the interconnectivity.
Okay, roll call.
Commissioner Stacy?
Yes,
Commissioner Thomas?
Yes.
Commissioner Kirsch?
Yes.
thank you.
Okay, safety grant. Where are we with that?
Safety grant, we have the draft that Ms. Charlene Watkins, Regional Planning Director, has so graciously put together for us, and that took some research on her behalf from the various entities. But as we approved last week, the question was out about, oh, I'm sorry, I'm jumping to history grant. Let's back up, safety grant. I went to the history grant. I was excited about the history grant. Safety grant, let's go there. Sorry.
Here we go.
Well, the look on Charlene's face was what gave it away. She's looking at me like, what are you talking about? I'm like, I went to the wrong grant.
Do we have any input from the gallery, if you will, about the safety grant? Are we here to talk about anything specifically there? We have it on the agenda to do what?
Well, I just give an update. I did reach out to Mateo from the state to do some clarifications, because you know, we only had the experience from the first round we went to. So I reached out to him, asking him, because when we submitted the grant, it was submitted as we would use the loan, the $500,000 loan as our match.
Yes.
And so I wanted to clarify if since there was questions asked by my board, if we had to use the loan, or if we could do some sort of our own financing. And he said that we could use either or, the loan was still an option, or we could do our own financing. I also asked about the match, since we only got $163,000. He said that they would allow for the reduction of match on that. I do have it in writing in his email, so, because the last time we did this, when Ken got the grant money for the ambulances, we had put in $130,000 of a match for $500,000. We only got $336,000, and the state told us we still had to use our full match, the $130,000. Now, what I'm understanding is that it would be lowered, so from what I understand, that we could only spend, or potentially only spend 163 to get the 163.
Or 1-to-1.
1-to-1.
And that's, we have a year to do that?
Yes.
If,
And it has to be something that was on the original submission list?
Yes.
Your Honor, any further discussion with the city regarding the safety grant, or regarding the direction that things are going here?
We would still like the grant money. I think that goes without saying. I guess that's really about it. I think we're definitely in. We would still like the grant money. It's interesting and that the state has come back with it. It seems like they have had a hard time getting any kind of answers, but at least we have in writing now something from them by the sounds of it, so.
I know the beauty of the fact on the grant is that it's not have to rush anything. Not that we don't want to use it or spend it, but we do have some lead time with the conditions of the grant. We've got until 18. So I guess it's a matter of figuring out who wants. I did ask, I didn't hear anything back from John. I don't know if Kathy had anything, but the last meeting is, is there a little bit of an inventory of the other partners of the project? Because there was multiple partners on the grant, not just the county and the city, that was looking at, we still need this, or this connectivity, for some of those villages or what, and I don't know if there was any new info from that.
John DeVoli did contact each of the mayors from the participating villages, and they all do want to continue to participate in not only receiving the equipment, but also participating in the safety activities, including professional development and public awareness components.
Okay. In a related story, we had the 911 Technical Advisory Committee last night. The mayor was there and Ken was there, and I think that's the folks that were there from this group that are here today. And we are going to bring to this commission now the option, if you will, as to how to finance it. There is, the recommendation was the new equipment would come from Motorola, and it's just a tick under $500,000. The good news is there's significant money in the 911 account, and that there continues to stream in that. There's some question as to whether Australia would be part of this 911 system. They're still working on that, but we will have a decision to make here in the near future after Derek reviews the paperwork. But the committee has advised to go with a new hardware system for 911 calls through Motorola, and it's a 10-year contract. If you guys want to add, you two want to add anything to that? Okay. So that will be here soon. Okay, now you can talk about Ohio Connections Grant.
Okay, all right. Thanks, so sorry. Yes, Ms. Charlene Watkins, Regional Planning Director, has got the application ready to go in. We have the extension till Wednesday, till tomorrow, for it to move forward. And we passed the resolution last week hinging on the answer to the question about the set-aside in a trust line item, whatever it would be, to leverage portion of those funds for the good of the county and specific projects that fit the criteria outlined by the Ohio History Connection. So the answer from the state was that yes, if we wanted to set that portion of those funds aside, we could do that. I know late last week I brainstormed with Charlene a little bit. She had some ideas, we talked about some things, and I think what we see outlined in what she moved forward as outlining the application. She specifically outlined all of the projects, and the seventh one being Seneca County Historic Preservation Fund, and she outlined that here. So I guess just for point of clarity, so everybody would understand, is that that fund would be in the amount of $23,000, which is the balance after the previous 6 projects that we approved. It will be used to assist entities with projects that meet the 3 categories under the Community Historic Preservation Fund. The Seneca County Commissioners will establish a 5-person advisory board made up of members from the following entities: Tiffin Glass Museum, Fostoria Rail Preservation Society, Seneca Regional Planning Commission, Seneca County Historical Society, and Seneca County Museum Alliance. That advisory board will accept applications from entities to assist with historic preservation. The funds would be used as a 1-to-1 match for potential projects that meet the requirements of the Community Historic Fund. The advisory board will review the applications and present proposed projects which meet the requirements to the Seneca County Commissioners for final approval. Once all the funds have been used, the Seneca County Historic Fund will be closed and the advisory board will be disbanded. The funds would be held in a non-interest bearing account. A separate fund will be created for the purposes of tracking expenditures. The proposed outcome of the project is to provide match funds to Seneca County Historic Preservation projects that meet the requirements of the Community Historic Preservation Fund. So greatly appreciate Charlene's effort and the state as well in working with us on the extension and defining that using some of that money as leverage was a feasible means, and I think that's a benefit to the community.
I guess my only question is what, this scenario has 24.2 in that account, we're down to 23, what's the $1,200?
There was the,
We had some flushed out changes, after talking to some representatives regarding programs. I can run through the dollar amounts with
No,
you
it's
just so we
okay.
know.
They just-
But they just,
just-
better estimates came in and better dollar amounts came in, so we could make it a better, we could fund the projects more realistically.
All right. So the top line increased a bit and the bottom line increased or decreased a bit?
Just a little bit.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay, since we have approval, I don't believe we need another vote because it was pending the approval of the state, right?
right, and just, make sure that this board felt comfortable with on how we handle the historic preservation, those dollars, and I thought it did what we agreed to do last week, was leverage the money, so yeah, we've approved it unless they
Did the resolution specifically have the dollar amount? Do you have that resolution? Because for some reason, I think we said 24.
We did.
And if that's the case, then we're gonna have to either amend the resolution or something, because I think we specifically said that dollar amount.
Oh,
So
okay.
we'll have to, yes, it's been motioned, but the dollar
Well,
amount had changed.
I'll
so-
accept the motion to amend the long-term trust account to 23,000 and increase the disbursements to various groups to 27,000.
So that's a motion, Wick.
Okay. that's a
What, do you
motion.
want me to make the
No,
motion?
that's right, I'll move.
Okay. And I will second.
Okay, we need a roll call, well, yeah, any additional discussion about that?
Who will be holding the funds? Will we hold it here?
In the counties, there'll just be a line that'll be put in.
Any additional discussion? Roll call.
Commissioner Stacy?
Yes.
Commissioner Thomas?
No.
Commissioner Kirschner?
Yes. Okay, it's approved.
One other thing, I did get an extra, a gentleman dropped off, Victor Perez dropped off a letter. I can give to Charlene that she can look for the future. They want us to put 50,000, which we've already put otherwise. As you make your final decision regarding the allocation of grants, I would ask you consider one other alternative. While the county makes the transition into the Justice Center, the old Carnegie Library will be vacant. The juvenile probate court, consistent with the preservation purposes of grants, I would suggest that the money be placed in a fund to maintain that building as part of the transition plan.
Okay, good thought.
I'll give that to
Starting
Charlene.
on one more use for the money, right?
Right.
All right, perfect. We need to get a few more $50,000 drop out of the sky.
Right.
Okay, Board of Elections space renovation update. Who wants to give that? Would you like to give that? Oh,
I
all
guess I will
right.
give that. I met with Lori Ritzler last week, and we had, the previous week had the pre-construction meeting. And they are going to start Monday, May 8th. So the next Monday they start, and in that schedule, it includes a break in construction work the week right after the county fair, so July 30th to, I think, August 4th, whatever that week is. That will be when they will have a temporary occupancy. Doesn't mean that they temporarily move and then have to move back, but until the whole project's done, you don't have all your permitting, but then they'll get moved. And so we wanted to make sure that worked with them and their schedule, with them as the directors, and I talked to Jim Fruth after the pre-con meeting as well as the chairman of the Board of Elections. And they are thrilled and grateful again for everything, and again, so they'll get moved then they'll do that vestibule stuff that has to happen and so forth, and the target completion is early September. Don't quote me on that, I gave
So
Lori the schedule.
But their next critical date is November elections, right?
Correct, and so they'll be doing whatever precedes that deadline of the election with all the filing stuff and everything. So they were grateful that they'd be moved at that point in time.
And do we have, is it the same company? Well, Do we have final estimates for the renovation of what is now their space? Do we know where we're going with that? at this-
No, we have to, their existing space that we've
Yes.
been looking at in the CSB, we didn't accept anything for that as any alternates. We let it
Okay.
go and thought as soon as maybe this point, when they're ready to start construction there, we need to determine if we want to look at how to renovate that and so forth. It's obviously gonna be way under the bidding threshold because it's one individual project versus part of that bigger project, so.
The only thing I didn't know is if the same company that's bidding the renovation bid that as well. Is that what I remember?
Yeah.
They did originally, because they listed it as one of the alternates and they gave us a.
As we get closer, I just wonder if it's any less cost. You know, if we decide we're gonna do that, if they just stay there and get it done.
I guess we,
I mean, I
yeah,
think we're gonna have that discussion at least.
yeah,
We can
Or
accept the
have them
other
pull
alternate.
pull off the job and then
Sure.
go back.
sure,
So we ought to at least have that conversation somewhere
Yeah.
with them.
yeah.
Okay. All right, very
Oh,
good.
one more thing with the Board of Elections space, just a quick update on the student involvement from
Yes,
Vanguard.
the counter?
Yep, I was back up and met with the students last week, and they are putting together the final design, and Encompass has graciously said they will put the construction documents together based off those final design things, that the feedback we had given the students for that service counter, and then we'll have that piece, and again, we're still under the budget of the project that we need to figure out the cost on, and getting that done, so that is still happening.
Good.
So are we planning like a ribbon cutting, since we have a timeline now? Have we started?
Yeah, we talked, but yet we didn't talk specifically, once we had the schedule, that eventually we would have something, so we'll have to work that out with things with the Board of Elections, just definitely a ribbon cutting open house, something
Yeah,
with
I
it.
think it'd be great to get the Secretary of State candidates and the sitting to come.
Yeah.
Or at least invite them.
Yeah, yeah,
Well, I think it's nice that we are, we have got a resolution to this Board of Election situation. How long has it been that we have, as a county, been discussing space for the Board of Elections?
Long time.
I mean, more than 10.
Space in general.
Yeah, more than 10 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's,
A lot's happened in my first 100 days.
We will give you all the credit. One way, okay, thanks, Donald. All right, now. 81 Jefferson Street. There's a great topic.
well, I kind of had this on my, on the agenda for the Thursday's work session. We did ask for the officials to have a plan to us by May 1st for their documents that are in that building. I have not received them unless we receive them in the mail. I can reach out to
So
them.
our
and-
point is that May 1st, we wanted document plans.
Yep.
We've identified 77 boxes of stuff that needs to be shredded and is no longer needed,
Right.
occupying 2 rooms. That process has begun, and we are still calling for proposals from our other tenants that, on how they're going to deal with their paperwork issue. We don't have any preconceived notion what that is, but we still want to do something with 81 Jefferson Street sooner than later. And so our original schedule was proposals by May 1st, sale in September. Nothing's come in that's altered my thinking on that.
The
Well,
document retention committee that would, to help them get their plans together, and as we're moving stuff, I know we're going to Wood County to look at some stuff.
The 11th.
They've been working on their plans. We've had, I think, a couple of meetings, talking about, this year, let's do the asset inventory of what software people are utilizing and what works for, I forget all the terminology, that's why I look at Jake. But, that makes it, you can scan it and read it and search it and whatever.
OCR.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, versus the ORC.
Well, I think, what we would like to do and what reality is gonna allow us to do may very well be 2 different things. And by that I mean, if we are going to dictate to the folks that have items in 81 Jefferson Street that they need to be removed, then we have to give them an alternate space. And I don't know that we are in a position to say whether that's gonna be Carnegie or whether that's gonna be CSB, some spaces there. I don't know that we're in a position to be able to say, even if they come up with a plan to remove them, where are we gonna put the stuff? So, I mean, I'd like nothing better than to say, sell the building and you gotta be out of there by September, but the juvenile court isn't even gonna be out of Carnegie until December at the earliest, probably January. And if we're gonna use that space for storage, how can we ask them to take their stuff out of there when they've got no place to take it?
Yeah, and what they did up in Sandusky County is they rented space. You know, they just moved their when they renovated their courthouse, they just moved the documents to storage. I mean, we could do storage containers, we could do rented space, and
So now
take
we're
care of
gonna, now I guess so the answer would be that we're gonna ask them to move it to a rented space and then move it to a permanent space after that?
well, I don't know. I mean, nobody's come forward with a plan what needs to be retained and what needs to be destroyed. So, you know.
Okay, so the
I mean,
bigger,
if they stonewall the plan, I mean, we have to make decisions.
I guess, we'll talk about what we agree to as opposed to what we don't agree to. Do we agree that 81 Jefferson Street the county needs to rid itself of that building?
Yeah, it either needs to be torn down or it needs to be incorporated into the greater project at East Green, parking or whatever, or it needs to be sold to the private market. There's no long-term plan for us to own it. It doesn't suit any of our needs.
No, so we agree that, well, I think the logical course, at least to me, would be to attempt to sell it. If it doesn't sell, then we have to decide what we're gonna do with it, either raise it or use it for other purposes, but I would suggest probably raising it. So, we need to come up with a timeline to sell the property. And I don't know that requiring folks to get that stuff out of there by September is gonna work. I think we're probably asking too much.
Did we set up another meeting, or are we waiting until after we got back on looking at Stacy from, she's with our committee?
When we get back.
When we get back from which is May
11th.
11th, that we're going to see the other facilities.
But I think the officials were aware that they weren't waiting on us, our committee, for anything. They were still
They were still supposed to be working on their plans, yeah, yeah. Didn't know if that
Okay.
impacted those thought processes, what I was wondering, I guess, yeah.
The
I would
big-
ask that you just follow up, find out where the status of those plans are. We might be surprised at people's ingenuity, and then, you know, maybe report back to us next week, and if we have to adjust the timeline at that point, then we do, but until somebody comes to us with their needs, I don't know that we can alter our timeline at this point.
Okay. Can you check with Derek as well, the prosecutor's office, to find out what exactly the procedure is to sell,
Yeah.
so that we know how much lead time we need when the time comes to put it on the market?
Yeah, we have that.
Okay. Okay. Any other discussion on 81 Jefferson? What do we have on the agenda for Thursday's work session?
Had 81 Jefferson Street, and I had, what's the other one I had down?
I saw the sales tax, or the tax, vehicle tax.
I had two things. One was the,
Oh, annex, yeah.
the
The next one.
Yeah. And the incorporation of the county farm property and the active transportation plan. I wanted to discuss that with you guys. And I want to discuss the new legislation for the permissive use of the motor vehicles.
Okay, new business. Anything else under old business? Attica Fair request. We have a request from Attica Fair
Yes.
we're obliged to give them by statute $800,
Yes,
and their request is for $6,000.
it is.
Okay.
Usually, I think we've asked Attica to give us a specific project, and it's kind of a, you know, same old rising cost and keep up with things kind of request. So I didn't know, I know Holly's reached out to me before, if they have a specific project in mind, if the board is inclined. I did pull, Shane asked me to check to see what we've done. We did we've done changes the last 2 years. We gave an additional 2,000 last year. We gave an additional, let's see, 2015. We did 800. So we only did,
A little extra in 14
and then
and
a
14
little
and
extra in
16.
14 and 16, yeah. And then 13, 12, 11 was 800.
There's a pattern there.
Is-
I did make an attempt to call, and talk to the gentleman, I coached, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And that number does not work.
Oh,
So,
the number at the top?
what I'd like to do is invite him in and talk specifically about a project they might have. We have time. I think it'd be better to have a little back and forth than just to say we need money. So,
Have we budgeted anything?
Just the 800.
Is what we budget?
Yep.
That's fair.
so let's invite him in
Yep.
in the next couple of weeks and see what they would like to do
Okay.
specifically. Okay, do we have bid openings or anything?
At 10:30.
10:30, here we are.
Make sure I don't have any more.
Yeah. So down for now, 10 minutes here.
Oh, excellent. Okay.
Nope, only one.
Just Kenny?
Hi, Shane.
How you doing?
Sign it sheet, please.
We need to get a number of this.
Yeah.
Your way.
Okay, let's see. This is for the 2017 Seneca County Township Road Program. All of the townships included. Let me see, engineer's estimate is,
We can't top the city's $1.4 million paving, can we?
oh, we'll see, let me see if I can.
The largest in city history, I think the paper said.
Thanks to grants.
Plus the grants.
Yeah. Exactly.
Well, there's a lot of papers here. There it is. The engineer's estimate for this project is $1,092,235.87. 1092235.87. Total bid amount for this project, which is from M&B Asphalt out of Old Fort. Their total bid is $1,040,349.03. 1040349.03. And that's the only one I have. Mark will
Congratulations,
review.
Ken.
That's tough, that's tough.
That's the kind of competition you like, right?
It doesn't happen very often.
Right.
Okay. All right, anything else? No other bids?
Nope.
We had an agenda item on here about the taxiway. I see Mr. Shook here. Is there any, do we have any discussion about that at all?
He came in on Thursday last week.
Keeping Brad?
Brad Newman, our airport manager, came in and gave me a quote regarding the runway maintenance. He's asking for, and that's why we kind of asked him to come in, some cleaning, edging, filling cracks with hot rubberized filler, and apply 2 coats of sealer. This is for the taxiway. total being with the painting, striping and painting as well as $43,800 is what he's asking the county to pay for. This is our portion. We do not have a grant that this one will go under, but I do have another request from Brad and from the the engineer. We do have a state grant prepared if the county's willing. The cost is about anywhere, we've got two numbers here, $252 to $309. Our county cost would be $12,600 to $15,450, depending on how the grant comes back. So that would be our match between $12,000 and $15,000. So I have two different requests here.
I'm confused. Is
we
the
asked-
grant to do the taxiway?
Nope, two different
Okay.
requests.
Okay.
So, sorry.
So the grant is
A
to
little
do
confusing.
what?
The grant is to 1.5 inch of resurfacing and doing a 1.5 inch mill and fill. They give the costs. Apparently the deadline was yesterday, but they gave us another week extension. It just says for the runway doing a 1.5 inch resurfacing and 1.5 inch mill and fill.
Okay, so our cost to that grant is 12,000 and change.
Yeah, 12 to
And
15.
how much is the total?
Total project is, they've got two estimates in between 252 and 309, so max 309 for this project.
309,000.
And our match would be max 15,000.
Who's the granting agency?
ODOT, this is a state, not the federal, not aviation. So he's got that request in to see if we can get the application put in. All he's asking is if the application would go through, that our match would be the 15,000. That's okay, he'll prepare the grant paperwork.
Do we have the time to look at and see if the grant happened and/or before we decided on the other repairs, the other 43,800 that he asked for, or do we need to? I'm just thinking out loud.
That's what I'm wondering. I'm wondering if the grant stuff takes care of this stuff.
And he said it was two separate
separate
projects,
issues?
and that's
Okay.
kind of what I.
What do we typically do on the, when there's a need to repair the runway? It's not part of the budget.
Nope,
Okay.
nope.
So,
Usually we get a little bit of a heads up, but this just came in last week, that's why I asked him to.
okay.
It'd be helpful to have maps as we talk about those things, but
And
I would
can-
like to defer the discussion of the repairs and
Okay.
just go ahead and give him the 12.5 if he gets the grant.
Is that a motion?
That's a motion.
Okay,
I'll second
Okay, roll call.
on the match.
roll call.
Commissioner Stacy?
Yes.
Commissioner Thomas?
Yes.
Commissioner Kirschner?
Yes.
Thank you.
And then on the
43.
repairs, I'd like to see maps, and I'd like to
Okay.
have kind of a plan on that.
Okay.
And I'd like to see quotes.
Yeah, all I have is one.
Multiple quotes would be
Okay.
nice. I mean, I know it's under the bidding threshold, but I would like to know that we've done our due diligence, because that is our money.
Who's quote from?
M&B.
We should have Kenny stay here a
left.
little bit longer. Yeah. Okay. Okay, I guess it's time for supplemental appropriations.
Okay. I have a supplement to the permanent appropriations to the Public Assistance Fund. This is putting $145,996.43 into their contract service line. They're allowed to use their state funding to do some upgrades. They're doing some office upgrades and some cubicle replacements. I have a resolution authorizing an appropriation adjustment within the general fund. This is moving $500 from contract service to contract repair. This is at the request of the youth center. I have a supplement to the permitted appropriations to the Joint Justice Center Construction Fund, putting $1 million into contract services This is reappropriating funds that were closed out from 2016, also with a little extra in there for, we have to appropriate the full amount for Lady Justice, which is about $80,000. We did get the court order processed for the initial $25,000 that the judges pulled out of their special project fund to put into the Justice Center fund so they could get that ordered. So some of this is coming, yes, out of that, so just reappropriating funds from last year with the extra for the Lady Justice. And I have a resolution authorizing the current president of Ward Seneca County Commissioners to sign the Community Historic Preservation Fund, Mitigation Fund, distribution, and all other necessary documentations. And this is for historical grant, asking Mike to be the signee. And I have one additional, I have a resolution authorizing an appropriation adjustment within the sales tax fund. She's moving $85,000 from the transfers out to their other expense. This is in the request of the auditor's office. They had admin fees they have to pay for processing our bonds, and she needed to get it into her other expense line. And that's all the resolutions I have.
Okay, I will accept the motion for approval.
So moved.
Second.
Okay. We have a motion on the floor and a second. Additional discussion, roll call please.
Commissioner Stacy?
Yes.
Commissioner Thomas?
Yes.
Commissioner Kushner?
Yes. Okay, the time has come for comments from visitors today. Want to have anything? Yes, Fran.
I'm Fran Fleet, and I'm president of the, this is a mouthful, Barnes Deinzer Seneca County Museum Foundation.
Say that real fast.
We go with BD, Seneca County. I'd like to announce that we are, now that the decision on the Ohio History Connection grant has been made, that the foundation will be giving $20,000 to the county for repairs on the museum. Repairs that do not conflict or duplicate in the grant, or possibly. Okay?
Awesome.
Thank you very much.
Awesome.
That's great news.
That is great news.
I'll be happy to hear that today at the museum
Thank you
meeting.
very much.
Right?
Jim is just waiting to write the check.
Perfect. Thanks everyone for being here, but especially thanks to the mayor and to Dale and to John from the chamber. It's always nice to have these folks here participating in the meetings. We appreciate it. Yes.
Again, clarification on the, and I'll have to get the updated figures from Stacy on the museum grant or the historical grant, but are you going on, whatever the final amount is for the videos, are you going to earmark so much for each of the projects that were put forth, or how's that being divvied up?
It will be at the discretion of the new group that's assigned
The advisory board.
to review that and decide which one's the most important and how money can best be used. Yeah.
And specifically on the ones listed in the app, just based on the app versus the list up there, the Scipio project was project 1, and that's 800. Charlene, you correct me if I'm wrong on this. Project 2 was the West Lodi Church, 5,000. Project 3 was the Fostoria Rail Preservation Society signage to work on the rail glass trail, 5,000. And these were all not to exceed. Project 4, Fostoria Area Historical Society History, Fostoria Volume 6 DVD series, and that was not to exceed 1,500. Project 5 was the Tiffin Glass Museum, videos of tours, museums, historic buildings, and other locations, not to exceed 7,900. This is where the adjustment came based on projected cost and so forth, I think.
That one was 6,800.
Okay, and here it says 7,000. Oh, I jumped ahead. 6,800, sorry. And then Project 6, the Seneca County Park District, identifying and record historic properties, registry of historic cornerstone locations, and develop maps for walking, biking, and driving to the locations. was 7,900. And then the last one was Project 7 was the Historic Preservation Fund of the 23,000. So that's the specific breakdown. Sorry, I should have probably gave those numbers.
So some of those things specifically are going to happen because they're articulated in the approval, and then the rest of them may happen depending on the decision of that new appointed board.
But again, it's an advisory board, you'll still make the final decision?
Right, well, right, that's true. That's true.
Thank you.
Yep. And also Bryce, nice to see you, I didn't see you back there. Any other comments, questions, modifications? We are adjourned.